Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Inspirations News podcast. I'm Samara O'Gorman, your host for this episode. Today I'm with Julia, the Executive Director of Literacy Unlimited. Before we delve into this episode, I just want to know, LU is celebrating its 45th anniversary this year. Tell me a bit about the goals, the projects you're working on for those who are watching who don't know what LU is. What is the organization, and what's your role at LU?
Sure. So I am the Executive Director of Literacy Unlimited, and at the core, we're here to help people improve their literacy levels. We focus mainly on adults. We consider a 16-year-old an adult, so 16-year-olds and up. Why do we focus on that category of age? It's because we know that that's the age people leave high school and the age where people tend to fall through those gaps if they're going to. So we offer many types of workshops. Literacy isn't just reading and writing. It's financial, digital, huge right now. It's nutritional, it's health literacy, it's emotional literacy, which we're going to talk about today. But we also have a very robust 101 tutoring program. So if you have literacy levels below level 2, which is struggling with reading and writing, we will pair you up with a tutor who's gone through a very extensive tutoring process, a training process. We make sure to match people, and you will be tutored 101 twice a week to improve your literacy. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. Any questions around?
You've been around for 45 years.
We've been around for 45 years. It started 45 years ago with one tutor and one learner. So we really expanded into all these other areas of literacy because literacy is really the skills needed to thrive today. So it's really a continuous learning thing that you need in life to fulfill your dreams and your goals and objectives, but you need to know how to read before you can get to that point actually. So we like to talk about learning to read, to reading to learn, and that's a big piece, because once you can read, the world is your oyster.
No, it truly is. And I liked that you mentioned there's so many different forms of literacy. Digital, financial, nutritional, but today we'll be focusing on emotional literacy together. Back in the summer, we had a week conversation at a book event that I had about emotional literacy and kind of how poetry can aid as a powerful tool for that. But today I want to really delve into what is emotional literacy and the benefits of being aware of it. So for people watching today, what is the difference between emotional literacy, emotional intelligence, and just like empathy as a whole? Because I don't believe they're all the same things, but I do believe that they share similar traits for sure.
Yeah, I would like to start with empathy, because empathy is needed for both. It's really the bridge for both emotional literacy and emotional intelligence. And empathy is relational, so it's being able to understand someone else's feelings and what they're going through, their emotions, without owning them. You don't want to own them, and I know we're going to talk about this later. So it's really a bridge, and so emotional literacy is it's the awareness and language. So can you identify how you are feeling in that moment? And then understand how to process that at the same time. So there are a lot of tools you can use around emotional literacy, not only naming your emotion, but you can also understand your emotions. So taking a deep breath, journaling, writing down what triggers you, understanding the why behind that. And then emotional intelligence is really the application of that. So it's regulating those emotions. So you and I could be in a difficult conversation, Samara, and maybe if I wasn't highly emotionally intelligent, I would react without thinking. I would let my ego maybe drive the conversation. For sure. But if I was emotionally intelligent, I would say, okay, Samara is feeling lonely right now, or Samara is feeling angry right now. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to meet her where she is, and I'm not going to react. I am going to remain curious. So that's a big thing about emotional intelligence, is that reminding ourselves we don't need to be right. We don't need to have all the answers.
Yeah.
Let's stay curious and remember there's always something behind the emotion that's driving that. And we can help the other person that we're with maybe journey through that
For sure.
by asking questions, or even ourselves. We can help ourselves through our emotional situations.
I love that you brought up the word curiosity, because I feel like if everybody would react to the people around them with more curiosity rather than an instinct emotion like anger or fear, the world would be a much better place to kind of
100%.
not let that situation kind of change your whole day, but let it settle, feel, and then move on. And that is emotional literacy in its core, for sure.
It is, and you know, I've been in many situations where I've been in meetings where the potential for it to get volatile
Yes.
is very real. And there's always one person who will escalate that. But if you can choose to be that role model, that person that goes, no, I'm going to ground myself, I'm going to calm myself, I'm going to think, stay curious before I react.
Yeah.
So ask questions about you, Samara, if you're appearing angry, and maybe we get to the root of it, which is, you know what, I'm just hungry and I need to take a break and go eat. You know, it could be.
I'm angry right now. You mentioned journaling.
Yes.
A bit.
Yes.
I want to know, in highly overstimulating or like very stressful situations, what is a micro habit that you'd like to share that you do when you feel so overwhelmed or attacked in situations in your life? If you have a micro habit that you depend on.
Yes, I do. I share this with my team, my kids. Often, if you are in a volatile, highly emotional state, you could be somewhere where you can't go for a run or jump in a hot bath or go have a hot chocolate. So one really easy thing to do is to step back and name your emotion and take a deep breath, breathe in and exhale, and make your exhale longer than your inhale. And that will help, just that in itself will help slow you down, will help ground you, and give you the capacity to slow your brain down, take it away from that mammalian reaction that it's going to want to go into. Because when we're highly emotional or volatile or whatever you want to call it, our brain starts to shut down because we go into a flight or fight mode. So if we can breathe through that, it literally can, well, I'm reading my notes right here, a longer exhale tells the vagus nerve you are safe, and even one breath can interrupt escalation.
I believe it, 100%. Have you heard of the 4-4-6 rule?
Yes.
So
Do you use it?
That's my micro habit. And I
There
love
we
that you
go.
brought up breathing, because you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 6. Instantly calms me down.
And you can do it
situation.
anywhere.
Yep, you can. Without anybody knowing, too. It's magic. It really is.
It is magic.
Okay, so professional vulnerability. Moving on now. We're both leaders in our own fields.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, how can leaders show emotional intelligence without crossing the line, oversharing, or overstepping?
Yeah. I wrote down here, vulnerability is powerful in leadership, because when you become vulnerable, can break down some of those strong barriers, your team will feel more open to being vulnerable as well, right?
Yes.
So if they've made a mistake, or if they have a new idea, or, oh my gosh, I really would love a raise, but I'm so afraid to ask. And so when you're vulnerable, your team can become vulnerable, and then that relationship, that dialogue, that safety it's just beautiful. It becomes so pronounced. But the thing is with vulnerability as a leader is you need to be intentional with it. Like you cannot be overgiving.
Yes.
I have these 3 questions actually that I ask myself. Is it relevant? Is it regulated? And is it in service of others? Because you could be spilling out your raw wounds.
It's true.
And oversharing but that doesn't benefit anyone. I would say share those wounds that have been, there's some scars there, but you came out at the other end and you have some great stuff to share. Because if you get caught up in oversharing, that leadership could be causing you to be available 24 hours a day. Yes. You know, where does that boundary stop? Where do you say no to projects and yes to projects? What are some of my other things that I was thinking about this? Those are the main things. Like if you're not setting that boundary and you're not creating a structure where they know when they can come to you and can't, you're never going to have any time off.
Yes.
And then sometimes some people, I hate to say that, will abuse the situation. I've had that before. I've had, I'm not going to say who the role is, but if you become too friendly and too vulnerable, the expectation of you always being there for them becomes a little overwhelming for you as a leader.
Yeah.
So
I find like you and I, very friendly people, maybe some people might take that as dependence or reliance. No, I completely agree. And I'm always having to make boundaries for myself because I'm someone who's super empathetic and I feel empathy to such a strong degree, and I know you do too. Yeah. But where's the boundary? That line? Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. So moving on, we live in a digital world. How do you think screen-based communication is changing the younger generation and how they perceive things like empathy and tone and emotional literacy as a whole? Because I feel like it's so disconnected now, and I go to schools and I talk to a lot of kids who feel the same way, that emotions at their core are not being felt the same way that they used to because of social media and the digital world, and how you can text someone to say how you feel rather than picking up the phone or calling them.
Yeah, well, a big part, and I didn't mention this, a big part of emotional literacy, emotional intelligence is also reading body language.
Yes.
Like as humans, this is how we're wired, right? Like we are able to notice little fluctuations in your eyes, the way you're sitting, your movement of your mouth, and we'll instantly make judgments, right? And often we're right, actually. And what's missing when kids grow up online only is learning the nuance is missing. Like what we just spoke about, that is missing. So they're sharing their emotions through emojis, like you're saying,
it's true.
Through memes. And the problem with this is that in real life, you can really struggle with conflict and relationship building. So this is where emotional literacy actually could be really helpful for young people who struggle with this. Not all young people struggle with this, but the ones that do could really benefit from learning how to name their emotions, increasing their vocabulary around emotions. And I would suggest learning different words for emotions, and then journaling around that and talking to yourself about how you feel or a certain interaction that maybe happened, how you could have improved that interaction. So, but it definitely is a real issue.
It is. And journaling is astronomical for any generation. I encourage writing, specifically with a pen and paper, but if kids nowadays want to open their notes app and type how they're feeling, that's just as beneficial in my opinion. You're still getting those thoughts that are just flowing up here out into the world.
I have a question for you, Samara.
Yes.
How did journaling help you?
Oh my god. Well, for those who don't know, I write poetry, and I use poetry as a coping mechanism in my life to deal with all sorts of emotions, all sorts of situations, good or bad. And I find, rather than journaling, because I write poetry more than I journal, it doesn't let the feelings rot inside. Because I feel like if you're dealing with something bad, and if you're struggling, those feelings can rot inside you. They can marinate in bad ways, and you don't want that, because it's not beneficial for you, it's not beneficial for the people around you. So poetry for me, or journaling for others, it sets it free, because it does no good when it lives inside you. It really doesn't.
And you can learn, you can reflect on what's happened and actually learn and adjust from there.
Yeah. Perfect. How can one better their knowledge on emotional literacy? Their broad knowledge of it?
Honestly, I think I would just repeat what I just said. And as leaders, normalize it.
Yes.
Really normalize talking about your emotions. So if you are in a situation, well, I say a leader, a mom, a friend, normalize talking about emotions. So if you're feeling overwhelmed in the moment, say you're feeling overwhelmed. And for example, I could be in a meeting, I'm feeling maybe overly stressed or whatever it may be. I can say to the team, I am feeling overwhelmed right now. I need a minute. I'm going to leave for 5 minutes and I will return. And that shows vulnerability, which we talked about before. Not too invasive. We're setting boundaries around that. But it also shows that it's okay to feel emotion, and it's really okay to do something about it.
Yes.
Not just suppress it or feel like you need to be a strong person and not listen to your emotions, because often they're telling you something. So in that case, I could leave the room, I could take my deep breath, I could calm down and ask myself what went on there, and give myself that luxury of coming back with a fresh perspective which that could start potentially a whole new beautiful conversation, rather than taking it down maybe that dark place which you just spoke about.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
I feel like there's an educational aspect to it too. We learn so much from our emotions and what we go through. So why not feel them at the end of the day, right?
100%. We're humans. We're not AI robots.
Exactly.
And actually, as the world becomes more digitized, our empathy, our superpowers as humans need to be on supercharge.
Yes.
Like we need to understand our emotions.
Yeah.
We need to manage those emotions, but we need to role model that emotional literacy, emotional intelligence,
Yes.
to keep our species going.
No, it's so true.
It's
so
on many
true.
levels.
Like on a very honest level, it's so true, and we need things like this, one-on-one connection, sharing stories, just connecting with one another. It's very beneficial. And I want to go back to what we were talking about before briefly. Those with high EQ or kind of high levels of empathy, is it possible to kind of have empathy fatigue? I want to go back to when we were talking about that, because for us, we know what emotional literacy is, and we're very aware of it, but is it possible to be too aware of it?
I don't think you can be too aware. I think you can be too I don't think you can be too aware of emotional intelligence or literacy.
Okay.
I think you can be too empathetic.
Yes.
Because you can, like we were talking about before, this can literally lead to burnout.
Yes.
Because if you're not setting boundaries for yourself, and especially for people like you, Samara, who you're doing so many things for so many people, you need to set boundaries. And I wrote this down here for myself. Empathy says, I understand your pain. Over-identification says, your pain is now mine.
Ooh.
And we don't want to go there.
No.
Boundaries look like not solving every problem.
Mm-hmm.
So accepting that we don't need to solve every problem, not being available 24/7, which I think you're good at that. I know you set your phone on
Do not disturb.
do not disturb.
Chronically do not disturb.
Yeah. And allowing others to struggle without rescuing. Empathy without boundaries drains you. Empathy with boundaries sustains you. Yeah.
I'd love for us to end on that. Thank you so much for participating in the Inspirations News podcast today. If there's anything else you'd like to share with the audience about LU, its 45th year, where can we find these programs?
You can visit us on our website, literacyunlimited.ca. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube. Please reach out. We're always looking for new ambassadors, new volunteers. We're a great cause. So thank you, Samara, for this interview today.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.